welcome to episode 66 of TerrorVision Horror Podcast, the SPOILERCAST version. Do you realise it's only 600 episodes from episode 666?
Heck yeah.
Or, do you know if we get that far? We should just quit.
Yeah, we will. We'll quit and we'll open an emu farm.
What's an emu farm? Oh, emus? Yeah. Or we'll start a new podcast just about, like, I don't know, ball bag fluff.
Yeah.
Because everyone's hanging for that fucking information. Anyway, I'm one of your hosts, Dan McGuinness, and joining me on the Midnight Meat Train is my co-host, Jennifer the Dream Warrior / Smasher Tran? I get that wrong every time. Stran.
Toot Toot.
Each fortnight, Jennifer and I set ourselves a movie to watch, and we go through it scene by scene and spoil the fuck out of it for everyone who's listening, all 6 of them. It's a deep dive into glorious gore, hard edits, cheesy acting, directing madness, and severed wangs, and compound fractures.
Indeed, compound fractures.
Together we are 2 people with a love of horror and feel the burn of our obsolete Blockbuster / Movieland / Focus Video memberships. I'd just like to thank all of our listeners who support us over on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and the YouTube. We love you. And we like to do a shout out to people that interact with us over on our socials. They help us grow and all that shit. People like Kevin Patterson, Mark of the Damned, Floppy, or the Floppinator.
Flopster.
Patrick Roberts and Adam Kister. That is just a few of the people who went ham on our, what's your favourite vampire thread this week.
It's so true. Thank you very much for the interaction there. That was crazy.
We also have a rating system, so you guys just aren't left there sitting there with your dicks and your vaginas in your hands.
That's so true. So for everybody playing at home, we have A is awesome, everybody should watch. B is our beer and chicken wing group movie. F is fun and dumb. C, classic that's worth a watch. U is underrated. O, an overrated motherfucker. G, good for its time but is not held up. We've got the J, Jen special. The D, Dan special. We've got a W, whatever. We've got the Kesha, low budget hot mess. C minus, craft is stellar but I hated the content. And we've got the McConaughey, the cream of the crap, the fucking fucked. The we watched it so you don't have to.
If the McConaughey was a sound, it'd be...
I feel it would be all right.
I can't do that. This week we watched from your, this is your choice, Jen.
This is me choice.
TerrorTrain from 1980. Mm-hmm. Now, what are its vital statistics on this great train romp?
This train romp, yes. I've been waiting to toot my way into this. So this is a Canadian slasher film, so peak slasher genre when it's just hot and they're just churning everything out. It is directed by Roger Spottiswoode.
Spot is Woody?
Yeah, Spot is Wood. Don't spot it. You'll go to jail. Screenplay by Judith Rasco, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Ben Johnson, and a very, very young David Copperfield.
And doing what Copperfield does best, playing a magician.
Yes.
Because that's all he can do.
The budget was $3.5 million and the box office return was $8 million.
Oh, so a success we've got here.
Yes, well, I mean, like I say, this is peak slasher, so they're churning everything out. People are going to see it, so even if it is not a great film, it's still going to make a bunch of money because that's what the audience wants.
True.
At the time. So, the boys and girls of Sigma Phi, some will live, some will die. I know, right?
Sigma Vibe is a fraternity, by the way.
Yes.
In case you
haven't figured it out.
It's not just someone driving around 4 people in a Sigma.
They're like, oh yeah,
sick man. Let's go cruise Heinley.
Just
go slower.
With my mullet. Yeah, that's great. A mass killer targets 6 college kids responsible for a prank gone wrong 3 years earlier and who are currently throwing a large New Year's Eve costume party aboard a moving train.
Well, that kind of gives it away because half of the movie you weren't supposed to know who the killer was and it just says it in the synopsis.
Yeah, that's right. So I love this. I love this film.
So this movie starts. We start with a fucking party.
Yep, it's a bonfire party.
It's a bonfire party in the snow out the front of a fraternity. For some reason, it's on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
They're burning their own pledge sign, which I never really understood why they're doing that because I thought they loved this fraternity.
That's right. That's why they pledged it. So I feel it's out with the old and in with the new kind of thing.
We have, it's cold. Everyone's in their ruggies and their woolies. We have people, standing around the fire, having drinks. We have the boys. We have a young Jamie Lee Curtis with her ladies, like hanging. It's a party.
Yeah.
It's a party based around one fire.
That's exactly right. Yep.
We have the new pledges, as they're called. They're all wearing these little crocheted beanies.
Yeah.
and apparently you have to wear them until you bang a chick.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like,
once you lose your virginity, you're that beanie.
well, I don't know if it's virginity. I think you just have to bang a chick whilst you're in the pledge system.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It's a pledge. Like, they're pledging and that, and I'm like, oh, gross. So it's in the weirdness of pledge boys fraternity boys who just want to know so much about other dudes' sex lives.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand, but I'm a girl. Who cares?
And now we're introduced to some nerdy guy called Kevin. He is like trying to get in, and you can tell like the frat boys, and we're introduced to the main kind of frat boy, which I've just named the dickhead.
Yep. His name is Doc, but I'm happy to just refer to him throughout as the dickhead. Yeah.
And then he is talking to this like new pledged nerd Kenny, and he's like, "You're gonna do it tonight. We're gonna set you up. You got a lady waiting in the frat room, like, So
and they're like, they're kind of like, eyeing off Jamie Lee over there with their friends.
Right,
so
go.
He's like, a nerd like you is gonna get with a girl like that. You're gonna be, yeah,
you get, and you're like, clearly this is gonna go wrong because I've read the synopsis.
So she kind of gives him the fuck eyes, and she walks off.
So they've set up that there's a room that he can go to and bang a chick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
that's
weird.
Seems wrong, but sure, not a problem.
Jamie Lee Curtis runs up, so she's gonna be the chick. So she runs up ahead. She runs into her friend, who I just called Dickhead's girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's like, go in the room, go. And then like she goes in, and kind of sets up. She hides behind the bed. Mm-hmm. There's a big bed there with one of those like
it's a canopy with a canopy curtain on it. Yeah,
4-pole canopy bed, which would not be in a fraternity.
No. I mean, it might be, but probably for all the wrong reasons.
There's someone sleeping in the bed already, and Jamie hides behind the bed. I'm like, uh-oh. They have mentioned earlier, and they've gone on about that they're med students.
Oh, yes, they are. All of them. They're all proud of it, too. That's all they can talk about.
They actually had a severed hand at one stage.
Yeah.
And they made a joke with it.
Yeah.
Weird.
And a severed finger.
No, that was like a actual just normal finger. He had it coming through because it moved. Doesn't matter.
Does not. It really doesn't.
In the weed joke. So the pledge, he goes in and he's like getting undressed straight away. She's like, get undressed.
And he's teeny tiny. He's skinny. He's weedy. He's young. He hasn't quite hit puberty. He actually looks like Finn Wolfhard.
Who's that?
The kid from It and Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he looked like I've lost it now. It doesn't matter.
Yep, fine. That's fine.
There was a nerd. He reminded me of McLovin from Superbad.
Yep, that makes fair.
Anyhow, he's getting like undressed and shit.
Yep.
And Jamie Lee Curtis is hiding behind the bed, going, "Take your clothes off. Come into the bed. Get in the bed. Kiss me."
Yep.
Meanwhile, there's a lady in the bed that's saying nothing. Anyhow, we get a quick glimpse of this like naked lady.
Yep.
He gets into the bed and he goes to kiss. Does he kiss her?
Yeah, they start smooching on her. He starts like kissing her, and just nothing's really happening. And we find out that it's just...
Then all the fraternity brothers come in and they're like, "Surprise, motherfucker!" And they all laugh. And he looks down to see that he has been kissing a dismembered, autopsied old lady.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty horrific thing to do to someone.
I mean, look.
I was like, yeah, good prank.
Yeah, you're like, fuck, I wish I'd have thought about that.
Yeah, so and so he like gets up and just has a bloody schizoid embolism.
Yeah, so he basically just climbs up on top of the bed.
No, he stands up.
And he starts like spinning around. But somehow manages to tangle himself in the canopy curtain, and just he gets all wrapped up and caught in it, and then we get this really great, and I love it.
I thought he died.
Well, that's what I thought.
It looks like he chokes himself. So he's in like those clear sheets. What are they called? Like
it's just a canopy
you make tutus out of.
A tulle. It's tulle.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. So he's all twisted up in that, squealing like a pig. Everyone's laughing at him. But Jamie Lee Curtis comes out and she's like, "Oh fuck!" It's like she didn't know the corpse was there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did she know the corpse was there? But she was doing the prank. I'm pretty sure she would have known or did she just like get told to go behind the bed? You don't know. It's really.
No. You don't know. But the light comes on, and of course we get this really great 80s freeze frame moment where we're not sure if he falls and dies and like dies or what happens. So we get this really great freeze frame, very similar to Silent Night, Deadly Night. And
Yeah.
And
What do they
that.
call them when they freeze in real life? You know, and not in real life, in plays. You know, the characters freeze in a play and then it goes down. There's a word for it, and I can't remember what it's called, but I love them because I like it when they do that in like comedies when they just freeze and you can still see they're moving. Anyhow, we cut to the credits. It's got pictures of a train with scary, like at night with scary music and the titles, and then that's it.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, the most textbook fucking like horror music. You know what I mean? It's just like, whatever.
It's not quite hit that nice 80s synth slasher.
No, it's like instrumental.
It's very instrumental.
I'm not even going to bother putting it in.
No, that's fine.
And then we cut to 3 years later.
3 years later.
So obviously, this is what's weird. Like, these characters are all still at uni, at college 3 years later, but they were like the last years in the party because there were all the pledges coming in. So these guys are just stayed for double time?
Quite possible. Well, I think because you've got
med, college is 3 years.
Med, pre-med.
Oh, maybe 7 years you go to college to do med.
I would say that you'd be at college longer than 3 years to be a doctor. I would hope so.
Why not? Anyhow,
well, for the amount you pay in America to see a doctor.
It's 3 years later and the frat party's still going.
Yes, it is. There is a party bus of the same group of kids arriving at the train station for a luxury steam train excursion.
So they're just going for a train ride. Cut to the conductor.
Yep.
So the conductor is a major player in this film.
Yes, he's great. I love him.
And this other character, which is not a major player, a lady in a wheelchair, and she's talking about how the train. She just basically talks about the train. This is an old train. It has no radio.
Yep.
You can't contact anyone. So I'm like, okay, I get it, but I don't understand this lady in a wheelchair, her character that never comes into it again. I'm like,
no, well, she's just there to point out the fact that there is no way that if anything possibly goes wrong on this train, there is no way of you being able to contact anyone until you're basically back at the station.
Yeah. And the conductor, so as I said, a major player in this film, and he's adorable.
He is.
He is like the most understanding. He was a good actor.
Yeah.
He was a good character. He was the best thing in the film.
And he's one of those, I'm too old for this shit. I'm 2 months away from retirement.
But he's also really accepting of young people, which I thought was really nice. He's like, look at these kids, they're having fun.
They're just having some fun.
Like, blah, blah, blah. This is going to be a great night. And he's like loving seeing, because all the kids, they all rock off of the bus. They're all in costumes. Everyone's got all masks on. There's witches. There's fucking lizard men. There's fucking everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, there's also the jokester character, which we haven't talked about. He was in the start of the film.
Yeah.
It's just like the stereotypical, prankster. He's not the prankster. He's like
the jokester kind of like.
He's always doing the quick prank, not the long game prank.
Yeah.
He's
He's got the quips. He's the smart funny.
He's the wacky guy, the guy that never seems to care about fucking people having sex. He just cares about the jokes.
That's right, because he can't fuck people because they don't want to fuck him. So he makes jokes.
He has a girlfriend in it.
He really does, actually, and she's not bad looking.
He's dressed as Groucho Marx. So if you don't know who Groucho Marx is, look him up. He's got eyebrows and a cigar.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Groucho Marx.
Marx Brothers are the best.
He's dressed up as one of the Marx Brothers.
We also get introduced to very, very young David Copperfield.
Who I didn't pick was David Copperfield.
No.
So there's a magician hired for the train. And, of course, it is played by David Copperfield. So all the magic in this, without another term, is real magic. As in, they're just showing it, like him doing his act, basically.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
There are some things in there. I just don't know how illusionists work. I just don't know how any of it works. I just fucking love magic.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's later on they do the coin trick with the cigarette. I still don't know how this works.
Well, he was saying as well, so this is his first and only acting role because it's really hard to act and do your show because the whole point is that people can't really see what you're doing. But you've got all of these extras and all of these cameramen filming exactly what you're doing. There was
a trick where he kind of, later on, where there's people sitting behind him that can basically see what's happening. So, and I reckon, but it was a shit trick, and I reckon he just let that one go. It's like,
quite
probably.
So he's never acted again. He was never in another movie as this.
Anyway, it's like, all aboard, funny kids. So we have, the conductor, we have the subconductor.
Yes, he is the brakeman.
brakeman, and we
Brakeman.
also have 2 engineers.
Yep.
And the dudes that fucking
Drive the train.
they shovel the coal in because it's an old steam engine.
Yep.
And then we have later on, which I'm just going to say now because otherwise they're out of left field. There's 2 bartenders, characters that I just only could say that they were bartenders.
Yeah.
And so there's so what is that? There's 6 people on this train. 6 people working the train.
Yeah.
So that's good to know at the start of this, because otherwise the characters are just going to start popping up and you're going to be like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. So before they all start jumping on the train, Doc, the dickhead, he gets up on a thing and he starts toasting to that's been 4 great years of college. We're all about to move on to something else and we're going to have a great night tonight. This is the last night we're all going to be together this.
They just go to for 4 years for medical school.
Yeah, I think they'll end up at another school or whatever. So he's having his toast, and of course, one of the girls is like, "Where's my boyfriend? Where's my boyfriend?" And of course, it is Mr. Prankster, the jokey guy.
And he's done a new prank.
Dressed as Groucho Marx. He is nowhere to be seen. That is a shame.
No, there he is. He was just in the crowd.
He was in the crowd.
He's in the crowd, and then they all get on the train, and as they get on the train, they see that prankster Groucho Marx has done the old running the sword through him trick.
That character,
They all point. They all laugh. Look at old prankster with a sword through him. What a prank! Let's just get on the train without seeing how this runs out.
So, of course, he turns around, and we see that, it's not a prank. He's actually been impaled by a sword.
By a sword?
That's convenient. Of course, he falls down. We do not see, but we see him being pushed onto the tracks.
Yeah, everyone's on the train at this time, so no one's seen him. Mm-hmm. He's dead now. He's dead.
He's on the tracks.
And the killer's hands push him onto the tracks, so he's straddling the track very conveniently.
I don't feel that that's a thing. And of course, Groucho Marx now enters the train.
Oh dear! So the killer put on his costume, which I thought was the best premise in this film, which they never really used very well.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we'll get into that. As in, the killer kills people, then takes their costume.
Yeah.
Which you could have made it really well done and a really cool idea, but they just fucking fucked it.
So, yes. So, the killer is on the train, and they are all aboard, and they are toot toot, they're going.
Toot toot. And we also see, Groucho Marx, his hat gets crushed. And just as it's about to hit him, the train wheel, off camera, we hear a crunch.
Yeah, that was shit.
Fucked him up.
Yeah. So Jamie Lee Curtis, and who I just refer to throughout the whole film as Jamie Lee.
Same here. I just call her Jamie.
I didn't learn her name. And her sorority sisters are checking out their accommodations and their carts. And they start getting a little sappy.
Carriages, I believe they're
Carriages.
called.
You are a train aficionado. So
well, no, that's just common knowledge.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, clearly you don't know anything about trains. Get out.
I don't know nothing.
This is a train movie, you fuckhead.
Toot toot.
Learn your fucking train terms. I had to ask my wife what.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, it all comes out
I
now.
also had to ask her how it was spelt.
That's great. They're all getting sappy about graduation. They're about to go off and they're best friends. They'll never see each other. There, wank, wank, wank. Groucho is lurking in the background.
Yeah, he's kind of just watching them get dressed. We see him grouchoing out. just watching the chicks, just leering at them.
As Groucho Marx always did, he liked the women.
Why
We
not?
cut to another carriage. Thank you very much, Dan. Carriage. Oh, chicken. Where there is the train party. The party's going off. Everyone's having a good old dance. Some shitty disco music's playing. They're all dressed up. They're having a good time. And of course, David Copperfield, he's looking from beyond the curtain at the crowd, and he's pretty much like, this is going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
The crowd is awful. These people are horrible.
But he's like pouty angry. I called him at this point. I called him the broody magician because he's looking at them going, "You're not gonna like my magic."
Yeah.
And the assistant lady's like, "It'll be fine. They'll love it." He goes, "They're not gonna watch." And I'm like, "Oh my god, are you a child?" Also at this point, because I hadn't read the synopsis, the whole opening scene with the kid getting twisted up in the thing is so irrelevant.
Yes.
And you're just like, the only reason this could possibly be in it is because either I thought he's going to come back and kill them, or in traditional horror form, his mother's going to come back and kill him.
Yeah.
So I thought, straight away, any woman that's old on this train could be the killer. So I thought straight away the David Copperfield's lady.
Yep.
I thought could be his mum. Or I thought that it's just him. in costume. So at this point, I was like, okay, so it's either any old lady, which is the, what are they called? Assistant of the magician, or it's just a rando. So but I didn't know you're supposed to know that from the very start. Anyhow, so Broody Copperfield, he complains that no one's going to look at him in the most
Who cares? You've been paid.
I didn't know it's David Copperfield at this time. That's why I called him the Broody Magician.
Because he's so smoldery.
He has some dark features. He has the blackest eyebrows. If you look into them, it pulls your soul out. Seriously.
Like, I'm pretty certain every woman on that train was just impregnated by a glance.
Yeah, he is like...
Yeah.
He's like the Hypnotoad of magicians.
He really is. We cut to the host lounge where Dickhead, Jamie Lee, her boyfriend, they're all cracking some beers and reminiscing about the prank gone wrong.
Yeah, we should also that Jamie Lee has a boyfriend.
Yes, and he's a dickhead.
I don't know what his name was.
No.
So he was in the opening scene, was he?
Yeah, so he was there. He was one of the guys that was involved in the prank. And, you know, it kind of seems that there's been a lot of tension.
Yeah, Jamie Lee hates the dickhead for pulling that one prank that time. And his whole life is just about large-scale pranks.
Yeah, which you don't really want in a doctor.
It's weird. Like, he's real mean about it as well. He's like wants to hurt people in his pranks.
Yeah,
and shit.
He's very entitled. Like, I feel he's probably that, you know.
He's entitled. He's rich. He's a doctor, and he's like still like, well, everyone deserves to be fucking pranked because I don't fucking know why.
He acts like
my father didn't love me. He just gave me money.
He acts like a petulant child throughout this whole film.
So and then this is this scene is just like basically a means to just talk about the prank from the start of the film, where they and to show that Jamie doesn't like it and she fucks off and makes him seem like a dickhead, and he can't see the dickhead can't handle anyone criticizing him or anything because he's a fucking dickhead. Yeah,
that's right. So we cut to the sorority girl, which is the girlfriend of the dickhead. I just referred to her as sorority girl throughout the whole film. Her name is actually Mitzi. And it's irrelevant.
It's where she's going to work when she's older, at Mitzi's.
So she comes back from the bathroom and she stumbles upon Groucho. He offers her a joint and...
He doesn't talk.
There's no talking at all, and follows her down the corridor into a bunker room.
Because this is like where he offers her a joint from the finger, because they play that prank, but at the start of the film you can see it's just like you have your finger through it, where this time you can see there's an actual
severed finger.
But she doesn't notice.
No, she doesn't. So he's following her down the thing. He just
follows her around silently.
This is really, like, I kind of like this next moment because it's very sinister. So they're about to head into the bathroom for a drink, and then they are interrupted by Lizard Man. So it's one of the other guys, one of the pranksters from the beginning of the film, just in costume, and he's like, "Oh, man, like, we got to go have a drink. We got to," and he's kind of like standing there, and you just see this flat mask Groucho face. And it just looks so sinister, deciding whether or not, am I going to go for her? Am I going to go for this? I'm going to go for this.
He goes for the token.
So he goes for the token. They go into the bathroom. They start drinking away.
Like, they both go... Like, everyone's drinking everywhere anyway. Yeah. Why do they have to go into the cubicle together, two blokes, to drink some alcohol? Because, there's alcohol throughout the whole film. Like, there's
alcohol everywhere.
Anyhow, Groucho, I called him Lizard Senior because he's like...
Yeah, that's fair.
Groucho basically smashes Lizard's face into the mirror, which kills him.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have even hurt you.
No.
Especially if you're in a big rubber lizard costume.
Yeah, I feel there would be some padding there. You'd kind of be okay.
Anyhow, that's it. Lizard down.
Yes, so Groucho leaves the bathroom and locks the door behind him so that no one else can get in. So he's just kind of covering his tracks.
We cut to David Copperfield now doing a bit of magic because his assistant goes, "Why don't you go warm him up with some close-up magic?" So he goes out, he does the coin trick, he puts the cigarette through the coin, which still, as I said, I don't know how they did it. They show it close up.
Yep.
I don't know how they do it. magic's fucking cool. Illusionists, as they call them these days, and it's not magic because magic's not real. You know,
Jamie Lee is very impressed. So
Why wouldn't you be?
she's just, she's flooded the basement. She's all for this.
Oh, dear.
They're having a good old time. And of course, while this is happening, we cut to two other girls complaining about being stood up by their boyfriends. And one of them is obviously the girlfriend of Groucho, who did not make it onto the train.
Yep, they're just like, I just call them the hussies.
Yeah.
They have no real role apart from to lure men in this film. Like, that's all they do, these two girls. And Jamie meets up with her boyfriend. She gets angry. He's dressed as a parakeet. She gets angry because she hates fucking Dickhead, and then she finds out that Dickhead organised the party. She wouldn't have come if she knew that. Mm-hmm. Blah, 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 blah. That goes on for a while. It's irrelevant. Then we cut to the conductor talking to the Dickhead guy, and about... It just does like a bad card trick to him. There's no relevance. I'm going to skip this thing.
No, it has no relevance. But then we cut to, we get some funky disco music and we get a sexy Copperfield doing a sexy illusionist act.
So he's a full act now. Everyone's just sitting on the ground.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, it's like a bunch of kids in primary school. Like they're all cross-legged and they're like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah, so they're in the caboose, like the last cabin now.
It is the caboose.
The last carriage, because David Copperfield's like his whole residence is in the caboose.
Yeah.
So he has a curtain with his like kind of room behind it.
With
So they're all in there, and they're watching. Jamie is watching. The conductor rocks up to watch as well. Jamie's like, magic, very good.
Yeah, he's all for it. He loves it.
He loves whatever's happening. Whatever people are throwing at him, the conductor's like, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, he's all on board for this, and I love it. We cut back to Doc, and he's caught up with his girlfriend now, and they're catching up with the boyfriend who's having a sook because Jamie Lee's pissed at him. And he's like, well, where the fuck is everyone? This is meant to be a party. Where is everyone? He's like, oh, they're all in the back watching the magician. He's like, I didn't fucking hire a magician. We're like, oh, the plot thickens.
Oh, I didn't even get that bit.
But it doesn't because the boyfriend's like, oh, you're not the only one with all the good ideas. I'm like, did you hire the magician?
Well, that's what I thought he said. He goes, I hired the magician.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyhow, yeah, who cares? Anyhow, David Copperfield, he makes his assistant float. And in my notes here, I've written, why does the assistant look so munted in some shots?
Yeah, so the assistant looks like a creepy mannequin.
Yeah, and I wrote, it's like they dressed up some extras, like they didn't have the assistant on set the whole time, so they just dressed some dudes up as a chick.
Yeah, it's like, you'll do. You're fine.
Yeah, so there are some weird shots of the assistant just looking like wide shots. So that's a bit weird.
Yeah, this ain't right. And of course, the two rando hussy girls, they walk past still complaining about their missing boyfriends. And Jamie Lee sort of turns to Conductor and she's like, look, did we leave anyone behind? He's like, no, like I checked the platform was clear before we left. Like everyone is on board. Okay, that's a bit strange.
Yeah.
So that...
Because she's like, have you seen Groucho? He goes, yeah, we saw him earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is this scene as well. I know it's in this part. It's coming out. Is where the dickhead talks to Jamie Lee's boyfriend.
Yeah,
and he's like, they're kind of broing out, and then the dickhead says to the boyfriend, "If she dumps you, you always have me, you know." And then he looks at him and he goes, and then the dickhead goes, "I mean it." And I'm like, is the dickhead supposed to be in love with the guy?
Do you know
the scene I'm talking about?
It got a little homoerotic, it did.
Yeah, and not in a bad way, but like it had nothing to do with the story, and it never comes up again.
Well, I feel that he just doesn't like Jamie Lee because
I thought he was in love with the boyfriend, and that's why he's such a dickhead to everyone.
That could be it.
He's a bit closeted, so that's why he's a fuckhead.
That would explain a lot.
Or I thought they thought about doing that and then just dropped it.
Yeah, maybe.
Because this film is kind of shit.
I don't know if you picked up on that. But the two rando girls walking out are now talking to Doc, the dickhead, and Jamie Lee's boyfriend.
They hit on him.
They start hard flirting.
And then the dickhead and the boyfriend just go like, yeah, fuck it, let's just go with these chicks instead.
There is a less subtle way of basically being like, we're going to fuck you.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Mitzi, the sorority girlfriend, she spies the boys heading off with the two rando girls.
She doesn't care.
And of course, she's like, so she stops Jamie Lee from being like, oh, let's let's go see the boys. No, let's just stay here and dance some more.
Yeah, she's just like, fuck them. They're fucking off. Well, let's fuck around as well.
Girls' night.
Yeah, exactly, girls' night. And the conductor finds Liz's man's body, and he's like, my God. Like, he doesn't seem to care that much. He just goes, oh my God, a murdered child. I'll just lock it back in here for later.
Because the bathroom becomes such a relevant part to this movie, because they're walking past and one of the girls is like, oh, I just have to go to the bathroom. And of course, oh, it's still locked. Oh, no. And the conductor's obviously behind them. So he's like, no, this is broken. You keep going. He's like, I have a hunch. So, of course, he opens it up and there is a bloodbath. It's,
Lizard man,
there's a little bit of blood on the sink and a little bit on the mirror, some on the lizard man, and he's clearly dead.
Then we cut back to David Copperfield, and he fucks Jamie Lee with his eyes on the dance floor.
Oh, it's a hard fucking.
And for no reason.
No.
Really. Then the conductor, the conductor goes to the other conductor, subconductor.
The brakeman.
The brakeman. And says, like, there's a dead boy back there. He's not taking it very seriously. Did you notice? He just kind of goes, oh. He sits down, drinks his scotch, and goes like, there's a dead boy back there.
Yeah.
And the other guy goes, oh, really? Like, they're kind of like, what do you do?
I mean, this is a luxury train ride. I'm sure they've had to deal with more dead bodies,
I mean,
It's
Murder
the
on the Orient Express.
70s and 80s, they're used to this.
So the conductor goes for a walk to calm down.
Yeah, so he goes on. He wants to turn the train around, and I think
they work out that it's easier just to go to the next stop.
Yep. Yeah.
Than turn around or whatever. But then the conductor goes and checks on the body again.
Oh,
he just says, I better have a look to make sure the body's still dead. And the lizard man's in there, but there's no blood.
Yep. So
it's all cleaned up. And the lizard man is like, oh, what the fuck?
Yep.
And he's like, the fuck?
Damn kids and their damn pranks.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, okay. So clearly that is now the killer has,
donned the
lizard mask one on because he saw that happen. He must have been watching from somewhere and he needed to like smooth things over.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Or some shit. Doesn't matter.
So he's in the costume. The sorority girl, the girlfriend, she comes around to the bathroom. She's pretty drunk at this point as well. And they basically leave. She's like, oh, hey, where have you been? The girls are looking for you. It's like, I'll take him. So they leave the lizard man with the girl and they sort of
basically the girl just goes, oh, lizard man, I love you. Let's have sex because I want to get back at my boyfriend.
Yeah, but that's exactly what happens.
Yeah. Then they get into their little like sleeping quarters. They start to get busy, and then Lizard Man does the sexy move of putting a severed hand on her chest, which he got from where?
I don't know.
And then he grabs her face when she realizes there's a hand on her, and I guess he kills her off screen because you don't see any murders in this film.
No, there's really not.
There's like one.
Yeah.
And that's it. So now, sorority dickhead's girlfriend's dead.
Yep. So David Copperfield, he's having a bit of a surveillance of the party. Jamie Lee walks back in and he's just like, oh yeah. He has a moment to himself before
he walks up and cracks onto her.
He does. Like he goes over, they exchange some sexy glances.
And then he just hard disappears out of the shot.
Yeah.
Like he just like, she's talking to him, they're getting sexy. And then kind of the dickhead walks up to Jamie and she goes to talk to David Copperfield and he's just not there. And
yeah, he just kind of fades into the
background. He can go in and out. Like, he can be anywhere he wants.
In and out all night long.
Dickhead says to Jamie he wants to go, he knows that her boyfriend is cheating on her out the back with one of those girls. But he says to her, why don't you go out the back and, talk to your boyfriend knowing she's going to run into him. So he just likes people to be fucked over.
Yeah, he's like...
That's not even a prank. That's just being a fucking jerk.
Yeah. He's a dickhole.
He's just jealous of everyone.
Mm-hmm. But we cut to the boyfriend and the rando girl who
he's trying not to cheat on her.
No, he's just like, no, I'm good here. You no. Oh, you've got your no.
She gets her jugs out.
She gets her titties out, and he's just kind of looking in every direction but the titty direction. So he's trying to be a good guy, but you know that he's there, and temptation it's something that will happen eventually.
Yeah, and he kind of bails out of that situation.
He does.
And then Dickhead and him are watching
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
like the magic show.
they catch up with each other and
Dickhead hates the magician for some reason.
Because
He doesn't like anyone that can do pranks that he doesn't understand. He sees the magic as
he's
pranks.
the smartest guy on this train.
But he's
sitting there and he's like, boring, whinge.
He's about being the biggest child in the world.
He's a petulant child, yeah. So, he's the magic's happening, everyone's impressed, and, he's just like,
Been a fuckhead.
I'm going to be a fuckhead about
He's like
this.
party pooper. And now the conductor finds now the sorority girl's corpse. And he's like, my God. Like every time he finds a body.
Well, I like the way he finds the body because he goes back to the scene of the no longer crime and then a shoe just sort of is on the ground and he picks it up
He goes,
and he's
"Shoe,
like,
hang on."
Yeah. Shoe.
Shoot.
Woman. Death.
Corpse.
So he opens it up and we find her with her throat slashed and there's blood all over her face.
And then Jamie comes in, Jamie Lee, and he's like, the conductor is so basically just goes, you don't want to look at that? He goes, oh, no, have a look. He goes,
no.
Just shows her friend's corpse. So Jamie's like, oh, my God, my friend is dead.
She was my best friend.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jamie's boyfriend dies.
This is fucking stupid.
So as we said earlier that, Jamie's boyfriend and the dickhead were sitting watching the magician giving them shit.
Yep.
And then in the next scene, he's just dead?
Yeah.
Did you see what happened to him?
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think it showed it.
That's magic.
Because I was just sitting watching the magic show, and then all of a sudden the dickhead goes to talk to him, and he's dead.
Yeah, that's the art of misdirection.
And I'm like, what the fuck? What even going on? Like, that doesn't even have any... there wasn't even anything.
Yeah.
That we don't even know for the whole... how he died.
Yeah.
You just see that he's got some blood on him, and he's dead. Okay, so the boy... the dickhead picks him up all like Stella style.
Yeah.
Runs him through the train going, he's dead!
Did you notice that he had such a high-pitched squeal as well?
Yeah.
It was a very feminine squeal. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yes.
So, so the dickhead basically brings the body of Jamie Lee's boyfriend to the same part where she's upset because she's with the corpse of the other one. And the dickhead is really upset that the boyfriend is dead.
Yeah.
He's in love with him. And I still think they were...
Quite possibly, but no one else in the train. Like, he's screaming for help. Like, this whole time, he's screaming for help. He's carrying him through the train. And no one is doing anything because they're like, yeah, good prank.
Good prank. It's another prank.
Prankster's at it again.
And they're like, oh, this is like the boy who cried wolf.
That's exactly right.
And now Jamie drops the bomb to the dickhead. Whilst he's mourning his friend's dead, she just drops the bomb that his girlfriend's dead as well. Just so insincere.
It's like, where's my girlfriend? Oh, she dead.
She dead. And so he goes like, what the fuck? And he pulls the emergency brake. Which is the most, slowest emergency brake I've ever seen in your life.
Well, nothing happens because because that's not the emergency, like the brake, that line pulls to a notification in the front that, oh shit, the brakeman needs to now pull the brake. So it's kind of one of those, he's meant to just sit by the brake the whole time.
Oh, the brakeman.
I did like that when Jamie Lee was asking the conductors, like, what happened? It's like, some kid messed up on dope and alcohol.
Dope and alcohol.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway, everyone gets thrown around for a while and the train stops. And,
everybody is now off the train, in the cold, feeling it. And the conductor, he's out the front and, he's trying to...
calm everyone down.
Yeah, like
he's trying to work out what's going
on. The
on.
Train, we've got to search the train.
But then the conductor finds a bloody hat, which we can only assume must be the coal diggers.
Yeah, so I
guess they're dead.
I forgot to mention that the brakes never came on, so the train never stopped. So he goes to the front of the train
to stop
the train.
And they're just not
where
there.
Where he finds the bloodied hat because there's no one around. Like,
but there was two coal diggers, and they're just not. There's just one bloody hat.
Yeah.
So we're just led to believe that they're dead.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're led to believe.
So everyone's outside now. Now we have
cold. It's like, we can walk. No, it's too cold. You'll freeze to death. You're all doctors. You should know that.
And now we have two new characters that are introduced, which I mentioned earlier, just come out of nowhere. The two barmen. And they're for some reason the two barmen are, they're jobbed with go in and search for the killer.
Yeah,
so we
take
get
some axes, search every carriage individually, and just, we'll find them. That's fine. Meanwhile, the conductor's outside be like, everybody, take off your masks. We need to see who you are. Buddy up. We need the buddy system. And we're going to roll call, see who's on the train, see who's here and not here.
Anyway, Jamie and the dickhead start talking to each other. And they basically just work out the whole plot in a couple of sentences. They're like, hang on.
Train. Stopped. Murder. Magic.
No, it's basically that she goes like, he goes, are you still on about that prank? And she goes, I went to see him afterwards.
Yep.
He goes, and then he had killed somebody in the hospital after we pranked him. And then the dickhead thinks, oh my God, it must be him doing it then. So they've worked out that it's Kenny.
Yeah.
From the start.
Yeah.
Kenny the killer. Killer Kenny.
So they jump back on the train.
And they're like, let's Scooby-Doo this shit and find him ourselves.
We'll do this
Instead of telling the conductor, it's Kenny blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, this is the exact description of him. Actually, we've got a yearbook here. Here's his picture.
Yeah, they have a yearbook.
You're looking for him. So they're on the train. The conductor, he gives his speech outside. They're notified that the train is clear. And it's like everybody is back on the train.
No.
We're all in one cart.
Yeah, so carriage.
Whatever.
But the dickhead goes in with Jamie Lee and he locks them into a sleeping quarters together because he's like, he's gone crazy. He's like, my girlfriend's dead. My boyfriend lover's dead. I gotta like keep it safe. It's every man for himself. He goes into full selfish mode and locks them in the cabin and like that's happening. Yeah.
That's so strange. He's like, it's every man for himself, but she goes to leave the carriage and he kind of just locks her out.
Yeah, it's every man for himself.
Yeah, every man for himself, locks her out, and she is now chased down the carriage hallway by what turns out to be the break.
First, though, that she runs he picks up the dickhead picks up a random magazine, opens to it, and it's got like Kenny the magician.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't know he was into magic. Oh, Kenny, wait, there's a magician on board.
Yeah, like, so they're like, uh-oh, David Copperfield is Kenny.
What did he do? Have crazy plastic surgery?
It's magic. Anyhow, so they've worked out that the magician now is Kenny.
Yeah.
From picking up a random book, opening a random page, and it has Kenny's name just written in massive letters, and it says, a magician.
Kenny, magician.
On your train, killing people.
Inquire within.
Jamie Bale's back outside.
Yep, and Doc is left paranoid and alone in a room filled with little closets. So he starts one by one opening up the closets. Nothing's there. He's safe. It's fine.
So
he gets something and he's like hitting it up on the very top shelves of everything.
Did you notice at this point in the film, the shot started to get real dark?
Yeah.
Like, so that's... Because I was watching this with my mum.
Yeah.
She's just like, I can't see what's happening in this film at all. And I'm like, it's true.
Yeah.
So many of the shots from this point in the film are so dark, you can never see what's happening. So you've got Dickhead searching his own little cabin, which is like tiny.
Yeah.
But it's like he just seems to find more and more hiding spots.
But there's so many freaking little closets in there.
And it's so dark that you don't know what he's even doing, like some of the shots.
No.
And then it cuts to a light shot, back to a dark shot. So you're like, there's clearly they just fucked up. It's not like my TV.
Very much so. And he's finally sat on his seat and he's looking across the room at a seat at the other end of the carriage. And he's there and he's just having a chuckle to himself and he's adamant something is under there. As he gets up to go and walk over there, a hand from the seat that he's sitting grabs him, trips him up, and he just starts screaming and heading to the door, but obviously can't unlock the door.
I didn't know what was going on at this point.
No.
All I knew that he was overacting like a motherfucker. He was just like so overacting.
Yep.
He runs. But this is like a massive problem. So he's been diligently looking for someone, right?
Yes.
Someone grabs his foot.
Mm-hmm.
He runs away.
Yes.
And then doesn't look back to see who grabbed his foot.
Yeah.
He just keeps running forward. Gets to the lock of his room. Can't unlock it. Still doesn't look behind him. Starts going, oh my God, I can't get through the lock. Still doesn't look behind him. I'm like, you look behind you if you think there's someone behind you. He collapses to the ground, disheveled, beaten, still not looking behind him. A hand touches his shoulder, still doesn't look behind him.
Yeah.
He looks at the hand and there's a ring on it and he goes, oh, it's my girlfriend. What's her name?
Mitzi.
But doesn't look up at her. Just goes, oh, thank God. It's just my girlfriend's hand. While still looking forward and just goes, it must just be a prank.
Yeah.
Still doesn't look at and then someone cuts his throat. And I'm like, well.
Acting. Oh, this is fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I love it. I didn't love it. We cut to David and his assistant. For some reason, so the assistant comes back into the room talking about everyone is off in another carriage, whatever, having coffees and stuff. But David is a little bit more concerned, and he's sort of like packing up his stuff, like loading everything into the trunk. And the assistant picks up a sword and is like, "Oh, this is the sword. Like this is where."
Now, he's just running a sword in and out of, the thing that you. Like where you put someone in and run a sword through, as a trick. He's just going in and out, like sexy style, and looking at her while doing it, making eye contact with her and fucking a box with a sword.
Oh God, it's so weird. I don't actually remember what actually happens for the rest of this scene. That the assistant's there talking about a sword. It's kind of irrelevant. It's fine because Jamie Lee, then
we go to Jamie Lee and the new member of the gang, Prez.
Yes.
So Prez is a character that's kind of been in it the whole film, but he hasn't had any role. He's just a kind of overweight guy, and he's dressed as one of the presidents, but he is the president of their fraternity. But that's all you need to know. He's just called Prez. He's dressed as a... what American... one of those Stars and Stripes guys.
Yeah.
So now he is involved in the film all of a sudden.
Yeah, which is so strange. So Jamie Lee finds the conductor to tell that it's the magician.
It's the magician!
And
he's like, magician?
Oh, there's a magician. Oh, that guy.
Oh, the guy I was watching, the magician. So, the one that had the whole caboose.
So they run off to Doc's room to try the dickhead's room. And like it's another bloodbath, and he's like, no, don't come in. He's in, he's looking around. Where's the body? Like there's lots of blood here. Where's the body?
And the body falls out of the overhead compartment, and then the head falls out, and the head is the worst looking mannequin head I've ever seen.
It looked like something I would have made in 3rd grade.
Yeah, so now they're like, now the guy that had so much character development and so much to do with the film is now dead. Yeah,
which leaves one down. So there's one to go.
Yeah, one to go from the original prank.
Yep.
So I didn't realize this, and I just thought, what's going on?
Yep. So the conductor starts clearing everyone out of this...
The caboose.
And the assistant comes out and asks, well, what's happening? And so the conductor leads her into the carriage with all the other kids.
And he locks David.
Leaving David behind and bolting and like chaining...
David / Kenny / who the fuck?
Sex machine.
/ black hole eyebrows.
So, black hole eyebrows. So Jamie is kept safe in another carriage with an armed guard outside.
Yeah, I was like, so they put Jamie Lee in her own carriage, but no one else gets one?
No, so everyone else is left in one big carriage.
There's nothing to say that the killer is only killing the original people from the prank.
Yeah.
They're like, so they give her one. And the guy comes in, so one of the barmen, leads her in and goes like, no one uses this, no one's used this one in years. It's dusty, but it's clean. And I went, that doesn't make sense, that comment. It's dust. Dust is the exact meaning of not being clean.
Yeah, dust is not clean, my friend.
It's dusty, but it's clean. And I'm like, what?
Hello. So he leaves her. She's in the carriage by herself. And I kind of like this because she gets up off the seat. She goes to the closet and she grabs a coat hanger out for protection.
For an abortion.
Which...
Because she's pregnant with Kenny's baby.
With Kenny's baby.
Because he was near her. And we all know
magicians
that Kenny wasn't wearing one of those beanies. So he has clearly had sex. Anyhow.
Which is a nice little callback to Halloween, and I liked that, But we back at the carriage where everyone else is, all the plebs are, there's a mutiny. a mutiny afoot because the conductor is trying to talk them down. They're like, we want off this car. You can't stop us. And he's just like, now you listen you kids.
So, yeah, they all know that the magician is a killer, and they want to go in and get fucking mob justice.
Yeah. There ain't no justice like mob justice.
Oh, no. Yeah, he turned into a Simpsons mob.
Yeah, right. The flaming.
And then we got this other character that comes in and he's like kind of been in it, but not. Like he's like the next dickhead in line. Mm-hmm. He's like new dickhead.
Yep.
He's like dickhead 2.0. And he comes up and he wants to go in and murder the guy, and the conductor gives him the axe, goes, fine, you go in there and murder them, and then gives him a fucking monologue speech and which talks him down.
It does. And he's just like, okay, I know I've done wrong. I've got to go and rethink my life choices.
And then we cut to a shot of the barman who was watching
outside
Jamie Lee's thing, and he's just got a sword in him.
Yeah, he did.
He did. Like, there's no explanation.
That's right.
No shot of him dying. So, like, clearly David Copperfield's not locked in the cupboard or the caboose. Mm-hmm. But
he's
another thing that could have done with a good, cool, like, scene of, like, killing him or whatever. But no, he's dead.
Nope, that's fine. But now the killer has an axe because it picks up the axe that was by the...
Yeah, and now the killer is in the room because Jamie Lee has gone to sleep in the corner of the caboose to get some shut-eye.
She's all snugged up under some blankies.
Under blankie. And the killer, Kenny... fucking slams the axe into it. And, trick, it's a blow-up doll. Prank. Jamie Lee has replaced her body, knowing he was going to come in there.
Yeah.
Even though
she had a hunch. This isn't her first rodeo.
This movie should be called Hunch Train because everyone has a hunch constantly of what's going to happen.
Well, you can't prank a prankster.
Oh, shit.
So she jumps out from behind something and kind of like stabs them
with a sword?
Doesn't she stab them with the coat hanger?
No, it's a sword.
It's a sword.
Jamie, because I wrote in my notes, where the fuck did she get a sword from? Did she pull it out the corpse of the guy out the front?
Maybe she did. But now the chase is on and we get some classic 80s Scream Queen action as she's chased through the hallways of the train down to the front.
First, she stabs him in the back and then just runs out of the room screaming before checking if he's dead.
Yes.
He could just be dead.
Yes.
She did stab a sword through his back.
Yes.
Which you don't shrug off in a hurry.
No.
But he's not.
No.
He chases her around.
So she runs to the front of the train and there doesn't seem to be anywhere to go, so she kind of just stands there and lets the killer attack and strangle her. They're on the ground, they're having a bit of a tussle.
She bites him.
She
bites like the webbing in between his thumb and his pointer finger.
Which we all know is every killer's Achilles tendon.
It's literally the Achilles tendon of a hand.
So she kind of like fly kicks him off, which is great because it was like a lot. Like she got some leg strength if she was able to do that.
Yeah, she kicks him off and then locks herself into a wire room, a room within the room. It's like
essentially a cage.
It's like a storage cage.
I'd say that's where they put all the...
We actually have one at the back of our work, that cage.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Storage cage. She locks herself in there.
The killer goes and finds like a giant metal crowbar. It's fucking huge.
He starts needlessly breaking globes when he could have just stabbed her with this fucking... it's a star dropper or something
with something.
Yeah, like a fucking... Yeah, like a crowbar, but like the real meaning of crowbar, like a fucking... Yeah, it's like a star dropper thingy, massive motherfucker thing that you don't have on a train.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't have it on a train. And also, it would be quite hard to navigate that quite properly through holes in cages. So he starts
to set the mood up by just smashing all the lights outside of the storage cage.
Yeah.
Storage cage has its own light.
Yeah.
But now all she can see is darkness outside. And he starts, ramming the hole through at random places, even though he can see her.
Yes. That's fine because she picks up one of those...
a paper spike.
A paper spike where you spike all your receipts and she just jams it.
She fucking jams it into his cheek. And this is great. This is the best moment in the whole film, I thought.
I was really disappointed that it wasn't the eye.
Oh, I know. I like the side of the head stabbing.
Like it worked, but...
Went through into his mouth. Well, we can't see that though because he's wearing a mask.
That's right. But she
Which mask is he wearing now?
So the killer
It's
is
just an old lady. It's just an old man mask.
yeah. So the killer's wearing Mitzi's mask.
Yeah, so we forgot to mention that the whole time. He's in a mask. So
He's in a
that's
costume.
what this film had going for. Oh, no, I'm going to get to that in the end, actually.
So
Okay,
she makes another
she
break
stabs
for
him
it.
up.
Yep. She makes another break for it, and there is another chase, another tussle.
And they're going between the carriages now, so they're
Yeah.
outside. And in the darkest shots I've ever seen in my life, I had no idea. And I wrote in here, Jamie kicks him off the train. Maybe. I don't know. It was really dark. Like, you can't really see what happens.
Yep. So the killer has potentially fallen between the train carriages.
And it's all over.
It's all over. The conductor rescues her.
And Prez.
And Prez. And they clear the way.
And then Jamie...
But don't worry, the killer isn't quite dead because we get this very quick shot of the killer holding on for dear life.
Yeah, on the side of the train. That's great. And then Jamie's just like, oh, fuck, finally I get to have some sleep. Because she's just all she wants to do is sleep.
Yeah, well, I
So
would.
she falls asleep. Then one of the hussies from earlier is really nice to her all of a
She's
sudden.
looking after her for some reason, but is she though? Because
And
she's
then-
just kind of like, but we should go over there because that's where the party
But then we
is.
get this shot of the killer outside the window behind her. She can't see. And it reminded me of that shot
Yeah.
from the Jamie Lee Curtis film A Fish Called Wanda where Otto's on the outside of the aeroplane.
Yeah. Well, this whole film,
Assholes!
this whole film just reminds me of that like final sequence in Trading Places where it is New Year's Eve and they're all on a fucking train,
And it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
and it's Jamie Lee Curtis
Weird, isn't it?
and
Like,
Dan Aykroyd.
do you reckon they just... Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? This
Well,
film
this-
is weird.
It's 3 years later, so this was first.
So it's
Trading
not even-
Places was 3
so
years
they just
later.
copied it.
Quite possibly.
Anyhow.
Homage
so
in-
we get this shot of just like Killer Kenny in the mask still. Hasn't
But
bothered
upside down, so climbing down the,
the
train.
train, like in the window, like outside. She doesn't notice because she's asleep.
Yeah, she's asleep,
And
and,
then-
the
that-
rando girl had left.
And then she got like, someone comes in and says, Prez goes, come down and hang out with the gang. And she goes, okay, I'll go hang out with the gang. Then in the next shot, she's suddenly in the caboose by herself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wasn't she going to hang out with the gang?
Yeah, so because he comes and gets her, and he's like, "It's time to wake up now." And she's like, "Okay, I've only had a
Come
bunch
down
of
and
trauma."
hang out with everyone.
But yeah, then she's all of a sudden on
In the magic caboose by herself.
on
Why?
the outside watching the train go, which would have been quite.
So she goes in and starts looking through all the magician's shit.
Mm-hmm.
And twist, she finds the magician dead in the sword box.
What?
So it wasn't David Copperfield as Kenny. What the fuck?
Who could it be now?
Anyhow, Jamie's like, fuck, I gotta go.
I gotta go now. I'm in the caboose. I gotta go to the front of the train.
Yeah, she has to go tell the conductors because the conductor's the only ever at the front of her. So she runs through the whole fucking train, finds there's a the subconductor,
The brakeman, yes.
the brakeman.
Yep. And
He's sitting there and he's at his brake table because
Yep.
he just sits around and waits to break shit. He's just break stuff.
He's gone break stuff.
Yeah, they just you give him a vase, he smashes it.
Yeah, that's
He's not
exactly
afraid.
right.
And she sits down and goes, "Oh my god, the conductor." She says it wasn't. She starts to say the
It
thing.
wasn't the magician or whatever.
The conductor, nicely grabs her hands and then looks and then grabs them hard and trick. The conductor is the killer. Well, he's dressed as the brakeman.
It's the killer.
And he's in another mask now, which hasn't featured in the film yet.
No, I like this mask because it reminds me of the mask from like Alice, Sweet Alice. So it's just that very
clear face
it's
masks.
That clear face mask, which is really creepy.
Yeah, they're just a mask, which is a face, but they're made of clear plastic. But it's kind of like got a fog on it, so you can't see. Yeah, they're weird, those masks.
They
When
are
people
super
put them on, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. This is really creepy. And then of course he removes his mask to reveal the assistant.
See, I didn't see it as the assistant. I just thought it was Kenny.
Well, yeah, because we get the double reveal where it reveals the mask to the assistant who removes her wig and teeth to reveal Kenny.
And then it gives us a quick flashback to every point in the film. And that's why that character looked so munted in those shots, because it was just that actor
dude in drag.
And I was like, oh, wow, yeah. But they used another actress for the close-up shots of the assistant. So that doesn't fly.
No.
Because if you're using another...
Oh, you think that this movie flies?
No.
No.
This is a fucking train wreck. the film.
So she starts saying, you know, her sorries, and you know he isn't buying
He's like kind of
it.
just all he's doing. He's just grabbing both her hands, and they're both sitting at a little table across from each other, and he's just holding her down with his fucking nerd strength, with his power rage.
Oh, he got nerd strength
with his prank rage. But he's got a cool voice at this point. It's really low, and he's like, you guys like you're all fuckheads or whatever.
Thanksgiving. Yes, very much so. And he's just like, kiss me.
No, yeah, he starts reacting what she said to him at the start when she was hiding behind the bed going, kiss me, Kenny, or whatever she was saying. And she's just like, okay, the best thing to do in a situation I've learned that if you're ever held by a psychotic who's had a trauma is to recreate the trauma, and therefore that might work out because she thinks that. So she decides to kiss him.
Yeah.
So he kisses her, and then he has a fucking Nam flashback to the start of the film.
He really does. And he basically gets up and he starts...
And it just so happens there is a sheet hanging from this cabin, this carriage... Well, now I'm fucking saying the wrong names. That he can also have a, schizophrenic embolism and spin around and get caught in.
Yep. So he starts spinning out of
Having
control
a Nam
again.
flashback.
That's fine. And then the conductor
just rocks out of nowhere with a fucking axe.
Isn't it an axe? It's a shovel.
A shovel. Well, it could be a shovel because it could be a coal shovel.
Yeah.
But he just rocks in. No explanation. Sees a dude just spinning around yelling and just slugs him with a fucking shovel.
It's a fucking shovel to the face. And now I must have blinked and missed because how the fuck... Because he flies out of that train.
Yeah, there's a window. He
smashes through the window.
He smashes Kenny with a shovel. He hits him out of the window, and just conveniently they're going over a bridge.
Of course.
And we see the mannequin version of Kenny, which is I'm always a fucking fan of. I love if you ever have an opportunity where someone falls off a building and you don't throw a mannequin off, you fucking blowing it, and you should be fired from the film guild.
I agree.
So we see this mannequin falling off this gigantic bridge, snowy bridge, and it shows a lake, which is I thought was funny. It shows this frosty lake at the bottom, and the dummy just thunks next to the lake, like on the ground.
On the one little bit of ice sheet that's on the lake, before kind of just like
rolling into the
river and rolling.
And then we get this kind of relaxing shot of seeing the corpse float down the river for about 6 or 7 shots.
Yeah.
Of and then just bang, hard cut to credits. I'm like, what happened? Is it over? Like, there's no you did it, or thanks, Prez.
Yeah.
Like, what did Prez...
Nothing.
The hero...
No conductor holding a traumatized Jamie Lee.
No.
It's over now.
The train rocking up to its, destination.
No.
And them all getting off and explaining why there's 7 corpses on the train.
Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And...
But who did it? A guy. What happened to him? I murdered him and threw him off a bridge. Okay, cool. Case solved. Wipe our hands of that one, Scotland Yard. We don't need Sherlock. That's the end.
That is the end. Dan, what are your final thoughts?
So this film did nothing new. This film brought nothing to the table.
No.
The boring off-screen kills.
Yep.
So many of the shots were way too dark. I was just like, the last half of the film, like all the bits that mattered, they were trying to create tension by making it so you couldn't see what was going on, but you just couldn't see what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, The people never looked in the right direction either. And it was just to push the story along. It was just bad acting. Like, that one that we mentioned it happening a lot, it happened in a whole bunch of other scenes that I didn't put in there. And I even started noticing at that point that, characters just won't look in the direction. Because if they look in a certain direction, it's just going to give away the whole story.
Yeah.
So no one, went, oh, why is my friend just not talking to me? That talks all the time.
Yeah.
Why is this thing? Why... Well, let's go to this place together, even though we've never hung out together, and we'll go and do this. People just did things out of character to push the story along, which I just think is just bad writing.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like I've written in my notes, the only person's life that seemed to matter was Jamie Lee's. Everyone else was just like, they didn't give anyone else a cabin. They didn't know that he was just killing the original pranksters.
Yeah.
Because everyone was in on it at that party kind of thing.
Everyone was there. You're part of it.
Yeah, and it had a twist that was just acceptable. You know what I mean?
Just
Like,
Just.
even M. Night Shyamalan would have gone like, is that really a twist?
That's the twist, but I could have done it better.
But I don't know, man. Like, it just seemed like a fucking waste of my time. Thanks, Jen.
Well, look, there's not a lot of kills in this film. You know, I understand that this, like I said at the very beginning of this episode, this is 1980, so we are now in slasher territory.
We should also write none of us had seen this film.
No.
So we didn't know what we were in for.
This film was on my watch list for a while. I think I actually picked up the DVD for like $5 in a bargain bin once. And I don't know, it's in storage now. But yeah, like, so this is peak 80s slasher. So this is the time where, you know, we've got the final girl trope happening. So they're just churning this fucking shit out. And this is a Canadian production. So Jamie Lee went over for like a couple of weeks, did that. I think she also did Prom Night simultaneously at the same time as well. But, you know, for knowing that, it is fine for what it is, but it's a hot mess garbage of a film. And like, I'll probably watch it again with other people, but also I probably won't. So what did you give it?
I gave it a Kesha. It was a low budget, fucking hot mess of a fucking shit film.
Yeah, no, like I get that. I will agree with you on that, but I gave it a W. I've just gone, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about the W, but like, it just had, like, when I created the Kesha rating, this is exactly what I wanted to feel like. Those low budget, just hot mess. Like, it doesn't make sense. People aren't looking the right way. Acting doesn't make sense. Like, it's a hot fucking mess of an idiocy. I mean, was it low budget? What was it?
It was like 3.5 million. So technically, that's not really low budget because
it's just a hot mess then.
Yeah, they were just, you know, chucking money at horror films in the 80s because they found a new niche.
Yeah, new niche. So, next week, I have chosen One-Eyed Monster.
What the fuck is that?
That's the one that one of our supporters told us about. The one where Ron Jeremy's dick attacks everyone.
Oh, yes.
And then when so...
Okay, One-Eyed Monster.
One-Eyed Monster. Now, I don't even know if we're going to be able to find this film.
Okay.
But I saw the trailer. I posted up. I saw one kill in that made me piss myself laughing. So I hope there is a whole bunch of just creative dick kills in this.
Okay. Okay. So One-Eyed Monster, Ron Jeremy, lots of dicks. I've got to go do something gay right now so I can prepare for it. Too many dicks.
Wait, I got to work out what year is it? 2008.
Oh my God. So we're talking old Ron Jeremy as well.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he's in it much.
Just his dick.
We've got, do you know any of these people? Veronica Hart, Amber Benson.
I know Amber Benson. She's in Buffy.
Yeah. Jeff Denton, Charles Napier.
So there's some actual actors in this.
So it might be good.
It probably will not be, but I'm okay with it. We'll
All
see.
hell breaks loose during the filming of a porno film in a remote North
Carolina
location. Oh, yeah. This has a real low rating, this film. I may have doomed us.
You know I love a low rating, though. I love a low IMDb rating.
Anything where the main character is a penis, I will watch.
I love it. Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you, guys. You have been listening to TerrorVision Horror Podcast with Dan and Jennifer. We are available on all major podcasting services and also on the YouTube. But no matter where you choose to consume us, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, or a review, and make sure you share with all your friends. You can interact with us over on Facebook and Instagram at TerrorVision Pod. It'll keep you up to date with upcoming episodes, trivia, and of course memes that are probably 3 years old by now. And if you need to reach us in any other way, we have a Gmail, terrorvisionpod@gmail.com. So yeah.
And until next week, may all your dreams be nightmares with a 7th wing.